The job involves the placing of giftware into the appropriate boxes for postage. The candidate needs to be able-bodied as they will be standing for long periods of time and also heavy lifting. Speed and accuracy are key in this role. Candidates must be fully literate and able to speed read invoices. Basic wage paid, 20 hours. Candidates must be able to do overtime and also work unsociable hours. As this is a seasonable job, weekend work will be expected. The position is fast-paced, so speed is key. 2 months contract, 20 hours per week. Temporary, $8.91 per hour. I don't know what the minimum wage is. Benefits, casual dress, on-site parking, schedule. 10-hour shift. Sorry, I could not. 10-hour shift, 12-hour shift, 8-hour shift.
I'm fucking tired. Sorry.
Monday to Friday, overtime, weekend.
There's a lot.
Question, are you able to work overtime? Shift availability, day shift, night shift, no remote work.
Oh, yeah. It's long hours.
Okay, so first of all, this is obviously a holiday job. Wrapping gifts. I get that part. I understand a 2-month contract. That's about the only thing that really makes sense to me, but that's just me. What did you notice in there?
Cabbages. Cabbages. Well, when it says, again, you need to be able-bodied, you can be disabled and still do heavy lifting and still wrap. It depends what your disability is. Because someone with tics, for example, they may still be able to do all the responsibilities. They may be able to do heavy lifting. They may be great at wrapping things. But technically, the person may not be classed as able-bodied.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that again?
Yeah. And to me, quote unquote, heavy lifting is relative, right? So for one person, 25 pounds is heavy lifting. For another, 100 pounds is heavy lifting. It also doesn't speak as to the quote unquote size of the giftware, because this reads like something like, let's say that whatever the order picking is, there would be like a wheelchair user would be able to do a lot of that, right? Like, think about it. You put the box, you fill it, like, again, heavy lifting. A lot of companies, I don't know what it's like in the UK, but in Canada, it's good to specify. And depending on the amount of heavy lifting required, so if there's one of the gifts that's 120 pounds, this is something that would reasonably take 2 people to wrap. So why would a wheelchair user be disqualified in that case? So again, to me, it would be like, is the work environment support, like, is it suitable for a wheelchair user to work in a place like that? So it would be down to the physical environment. But yeah, here in Canada, the quote unquote heavy lifting not being defined, a lot of jobs just add that out of nowhere just to disqualify certain types of people. So that's where, like, to me, when I saw the same thing you did, heavy lifting. What does that mean?
Babies.
Anything else?
Well, the work hours thing, it isn't very accommodating or flexible. It's like, here are 3 options. They're all really long hours, so there you go. You can do any of those. But some people might not be able to do those. So even though they may be able to do the job, someone may be able to do wrapping and stuff for 2 hours, and that's still contributing. I guess, though, some employers are reluctant to hire more people because you would need more people if someone can't do a long shift. So I kind of get that, but wow, that was a lot. Also, you must do overtime. It's not very flexible, I guess.
Okay, so how that translates to me when I read things like that, those are 3 kinds of shifts, and you must, like, they basically want you to be available every time except between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. pretty much.
Yeah.
The fact that they want you to be able to do overtime, they schedule you for 20 hours, but they want you to do overtime. That tells me that it's probably a high turnover job. So people will show up for work and then just go like, I can't do this. I'm not showing up. So you have to fill in. And that happens a lot in those quote unquote seasonal jobs, right? Again, I don't know what the labor laws are over in the UK, but to give someone 20 hours and make them work 40, in Canada, there's a difference, between a part-time employee and a full-time employee, and the social benefits a full-time employee is entitled to versus part-time. So there's a lot of employers here in Canada that are like, well, it's part-time, but you can pick up some hours just so you get to work 40 hours a week, but still be a quote unquote part-time employee. So there's a lot of scary things in there. And as you say, just reducing the number of hours in a shift
Hey,
probably would make it more accessible for people to want to apply, less scary. And yeah, it probably would also, just from my experience, I think it would reduce the turnover. Not by much, but just a little bit, right? So if you have a little more flexibility into the shifts that you offer, I think, yeah, it doesn't read like a good place to work.
it's like the underlying tone as well. Crackhead. I mean, sadly, this is the case for lots of places, but the underlying tone sounds like it doesn't actually care about the individual. It just wants to use you. And sadly, it's like that for a lot of places. But that seems extreme. They're like, you must do overtime. You must do these really long hours. And if they don't care, then they're maybe less likely to accommodate people potentially. Cabbage, because it definitely gives off that sort of
Yeah.
very authoritarian, you must do this sort of thing.
Yeah. So again, the fact that you have to be available to do the overtime is a problem. So again, from a scheduling perspective, I understand it's a holiday job. I get that part. But at the same time, it doesn't look like a good place to work.